what's everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs, whether it's come from building a gaming PC, if you need something for streaming, creative, music, whatever it is, Dark Fusion Systems will create the perfect PC for you. Get $100 off your entire use code CPPOD at darkfusionsystems.com. Link to the podcast below. Thank you guys. Now let's have a feature presentation. If you want a band that has that energy of Beartooth, that high voltage energy, like a car battery attached to your nipples, but is a lot heavier, like your mainlining Red Bull, let us introduce you to Defocus from Germany. Their brand album, There Is a Place for Me on Earth, comes out on March 1st, and let's show you all about this band right now. Are you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. If you've ever seen Beartooth play live, they call themselves like high voltage rock and roll. It's like if you take a car battery, attach it to your nipples, that's the kind of energy. But what if you're a fan that's like, I want something like that with that amount of energy, with that amount of craziness, but I want it to be heavier? Well, we found it for you. So coming all the way from Germany, this band's second album, There Is a Place for Me on Earth, comes out on March 1st. So if you like metalcore, if you want to get energized, this is definitely going to be a band for you to check out, an album to check out. So please welcome Simon and Jeff from the band Defocus to the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Yo, what's up?
Thanks for having us.
Man, what a great introduction.
I was going to say, I hope you enjoyed that introduction. I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, how am I going to introduce these guys? So I usually do it on the fly. I'm like, wait a minute. High energy metalcore. I'm like, but it's heavier than like that high energy Beartooth style. So, yep, that's where we describe it. If you like Beartooth, great. If you want something that's even heavier than that, but keeps the same exact energy, right here.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Well, I want to jump already into the sound already that you guys created because, again, it is heavy. It is fast-paced. It has a lot of energy behind it. And it's something that when I hear that, I'm absolutely all into it. So when it comes to your overall sound, how did you guys create this whole entire thing?
Man, it's like we've talked about this a lot in our band, what we want to do. Like when you hear our first record, we had like a super heavy record in mind. And I think we weren't that experienced in our first record, and we really grew from that. And we really know what kind of emotion or what kind of thing, we want to get to the listener, right? And I don't know, man, it's just we listen to so much music and we try to get like influences from all different kinds of places. And but at our core, we really like to have like heavy parts, high energy, really fast-paced stuff. And yeah, I'm glad that you hear that in our music.
I'll say, well, I mean, you're talking to someone over here who, whenever I go to a show, if there's going to be high energy, I know there's going to be a mosh pit involved. So I am like that little kid on Christmas morning running downstairs to see that he got a bike for Christmas. That's me anytime I see a mosh pit. I'm just like, ah, yeah! And then just get right in there and go nuts. Like listening through this stuff, all I could think of was, when I get to see you guys perform live, it's going to be one of the most manic things I get to be a part of. It's one of the most manic pits I ever get to be in because the energy just does not stop. And I think about, I'm like, this is going to even be a challenge for me who will go from the beginning of the first band to the end of the last band and never take a break. How am I going to be able to get through this, especially if it's like an hour-long set? And I just thought to myself, I can't wait to try this one out.
Yeah. I mean, we have a few songs that are like a little bit, taking a break from the heavy stuff. I mean, they still have the heavy stuff in there, but it's like a little bit slower. Like, you can take a deep breath in between. But yeah, most of the time, you really need the energy.
Say, why take a deep breath? Just put your foot on the gas and just keep going with this sound. Because,
and
man,
never stop.
Is it a lot. So initially you want to start out with like a heavier kind of style, but then it really came forward into this, a little bit like you're still heavy, but also faster pace, a lot higher energy. Was there a certain moment or like a certain influence that really took hold for the band that really drove you guys to this kind of style and to this kind of sound? Maybe it was the live setting, trying to get addicted to that feel of just having seen what the crowd was going to do when things get faster, when things get more manic. What was that?
I mean, it's definitely a mix of a few things, right? So, we wrote the first record during the pandemic, so there were no shows or no like audiences, that we can see the reactions to the song, right? And after we got back to playing songs, we really know what brings the energy. So that is one influence. And I don't know. I mean, if you ask either of us, I think everyone is gonna answer like different. For me, it's like I really like the old school Meshuggah stuff, and I really like the rhythmic like it's like a Meshuggah sounds like a machine that never stops. It's also just high energy and just pushing, and I really love that.
Combined with some bouncy parts is perfect. Like I guess that's what we wanted to achieve. Like having both of that mixed together, some fast-paced stuff, some rhythmic, some arrhythmic stuff, and that with especially some bouncy stuff, like combined perfect. I mean, that's basically what we've been talking about, what we really want to do with that album, to have some room, create some space, and also bring in that aggressiveness and also like this vibe. You know what I mean? Like make it bouncy.
Yeah. Like at one point for like Crooked Mind or I think it was with Let the Bond Be My Grave, we were like having a discussion like, okay, how do you want to write this part, right? And we were like, oh, it needs to be something heavy. It's just screaming for something heavy. And then we were just imagining, okay, what's the thing that we can do to make this as insanely heavy as possible, right? So for
add some weird noises.
Yeah. Crooked Mind is like, okay, let's put this weird noise here. It sounds just so crazy. And Let the Bond, we've like pitched the guitar solo. It's just like a rumbling sound at this point. It's not really a guitar anymore, and
it's just noises.
Yeah, just thinking just a little bit out of the box to make this sound as insane as possible.
But you definitely needed that to add to that feeling of sounding as sane as possible, especially, again, when you went to Crooked Mind, especially towards the end when you close with that breakdown. And it has that, like, kind of like you think of Meshuggah too, where it's just that consistent heavy machine that keeps rolling. Like that breakdown was heavy. It had like a sludgy, chuggy kind of feel to it. But also there was so much distortion on those guitars. And it just added so much more of that bounce to it. So it wasn't just the same old all over the place. Then those uncleans that were on top of it as well, just being so guttural. I literally am looking at my notes right now for that song, and I wrote, I just want to hit somebody with all my might.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Perfect. That's what we wanted. That's all we wanted.
That's exactly it. And when it comes to, you're talking about, you want that heaviness, you want that high energy part, but you also want to have that bounce in there as well. I think it's a great way to put it, because when you're thinking about having that bounce in the music, it adds a little bit more of this expandability on where you can go with each and every part, what you can do with the choruses to potentially keep up that high energy, but have the choruses be a little bit different, have a little bit more of this like catch to them. So when people are listening through, of course, you get, a more mass audience to listen to it. There's going to be a part of it that people are just going to gravitate towards because that's human nature. And maybe it's one of those bouncier parts. But again, it allows you to even expand the song even further and build off of that. So it's not sounding like it's all gas, no brakes, but just gas in a straight line. Like you want to give some left turns. You want to go drifting around corners in this thing to see what the hell is going to happen, and add some of those crazy distortions in there. So we're sitting there thinking, why the heck is this happening? And why the heck do I want to just knock someone on their ass in the pit and then pick them back up because that's the rule?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, man, I'm excited for that one live.
Yeah.
Oh God! I might have to sell a kidney or something to travel over to Europe to see this perform live. I've mentioned that a couple of times to a couple of bands in the podcast. I'm like, man, if only I had a limited amount of money, I could just travel and do this stuff. But unfortunately, I don't. And unfortunately, I only have 2 kidneys, and I got to be able. If I'm going to sell one of them, it's got to be for something massive.
I mean, the human body works perfectly fine with only 1 kidney. So
But then what am I going to do with my other kidney? I mean, like the one that I still have. What if something awesome happens? I got to sell that one.
I mean, you definitely have to know where to get it back from, like the other one.
Are there like other body parts that you can sell and you can survive without them? Like, I don't know.
1 ear?
No,
it doesn't work.
Nah.
Like finger?
Maybe if you cut like your liver in half or something, you might be able to get away with that.
Oh, then I won't be able to drink that much, right?
Oh, damn, yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, scratch that. Scratch an idea. I'll say, because especially after listening to the shit that you guys put together and how crazy it gets, I mean, afterwards, especially for the pit going crazy, kicking each other's asses, at the end of it, we're all feeling pretty good. We're going to want to end up drinking together, having a couple of beers and enjoying the night. I don't want to have half a liver and all of a sudden, like, get 2 beers in and be like, okay, it's really starting to take hold because my body is not able to take care of it. Plus, I'm also missing a full kidney right now because of this. I don't know, give it maybe 5-10 more years, maybe modern medicine will invent something that will be able to take care of that for us.
Yeah. I mean, we have to work on like playing a few shows like in the States as well. I mean, someday we're working on it to come to you.
I mean, I hope it happens sometime soon just because of how insane this is. But I do know, again, I've interviewed a bunch of bands over from Europe as well. I do know how tough it can be to get from Europe over the United States or get to any part of the world anyway. I've talked to bands from Australia and how hard it is just to get anywhere for them with all the visa issues. So have you guys even, like, I know you guys are thinking about wanting to come over to the U.S. Have you guys tried any of that at any point right now? Or is that still, you know, in the distant future?
I mean, we've had like a tour last year, but that was like mainly Europe, and that's like actually pretty easy. You know, you have like you can drive basically anywhere, and I don't know if you just like have like a passport, it's fine, I guess.
And there are so many big cities actually that are close to each other, so you don't have to travel that far.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. But flying to another country, like to another continent, it's like I can imagine
awesome.
It would be awesome, but
Yeah,
it's like also like we're already struggling with like so much like work in the background to make everything work, and
because there's so much to consider when doing that.
Yeah, there's so much to consider, but it would definitely be like worth it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we are already like thinking about all of that. We hope that it's be working in the future, but yeah, for right now, we'll have to stay to Europe right now.
Well, before diving into the new album, though, because you said there's a lot of things in the background that are happening that have to happen before that. Like, what are those things that you're going through? So us as an audience, primarily over in the U.S., we get a better idea of the things that are going on in the background that you have to put together before even coming over to the U.S.
Oh, well, I mean, there's so much going on. Like talking about like instruments, for example, you need to get your guitars to the
we have to take all our shit,
or otherwise you have to rent some drum set or whatever. So that's the first thing. And if everything like around that is set up, you obviously need some venues where you can actually like set up the shows and stuff.
I mean, I don't know. Do we need like a work visa or something over there? Planning to play shows.
This could actually be true.
Yeah.
I think you might actually need that.
I think we need that.
Yeah.
So we don't even know everything.
So many things that we didn't even think about. Yeah.
Hey, but then again, that's what the record label is for, because they deal with this stuff all the time. They have an idea of what exactly you're all going to need, what you need to go through. Plus, if you have a record label behind you, then you can definitely have a little bit more push behind it due to the fact that you have more funding to go and do this stuff versus a band that's trying to go over and do it independently.
That's true.
But I mean, the amount of bands that, because on your label, Rising Empire, that I've interviewed, I'm like, come on, we got to get everyone over to the U.S. at some point, because I want to see the sounds, especially from the bands that are on that label, the sounds that you guys are creating, come over here and actually have a chance for people to see it and experience in person live, because those experiences are so much different compared to sitting down watching music videos or just streaming them and listening throughout the day. Definitely. That live performance is so much of a different aspect and a different animal, and especially with the insane sound that you guys have with that high energy, it's something that has to be taken a whole live, like seeing Beartooth live, like going to see heavier bands or hardcore bands like Knocked Loose and Alpha Wolf live. You have to experience that. Even though, I'll even bring up Electric Callboy, even though watching their music videos it's hysterical, seeing them live is a much, much, much more insane experience because of how everyone else is acting around it and just feeding off of that positivity. With you guys, it's feeding off of the manic energy, and I want to be a part of it.
Definitely. I mean, it's insane, actually. Like that you mentioned Electric Callboy. It's like a band that I've known for so many years. I've seen him like in small clubs here in Germany with like 40, 50 people almost 10 years ago, I think. And they were like so huge, like doing headline shows in the States and everywhere. It's like really crazy.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about it, it's like we really grew up with this band. Otherwise, we didn't like. I didn't listen to them that much back then, but it feels like they always were there and they always were kind of big.
It's crazy. It's crazy how huge they got during
especially now in the last 2 years or what with the
2-3 years.
Yeah, that's crazy with the new stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was once they released Hypa Hypa with Nico now as the lead singer.
Everybody's going completely crazy with it.
Yeah,
it's fucking good.
But they deserve it, man. They have,
yeah, they do.
They have this high energy sound, and they have like the attitude, like they don't really give a fuck, and they just do what's fun. I like that.
I'll say it's not necessarily the attitude of they don't give a fuck. It's the attitude of they're gonna take their music seriously, but they're not gonna take themselves seriously.
I guess
and it's that energy that comes across. But even thinking about your sound as well, Electric Callboy's coming over the States, and last year they came over and they would headline rooms of about maybe 1,000 to 1,200 capacity. Now they're coming back just for a small run between two different festivals in May, and I'm seeing them in Chicago, and the venue is like a 4,000 plus capacity venue. So maybe we can get you guys in on their next tour in the US because of how the energy of that sound is.
We need to talk to our label, man. They got to do like a label tour or something over there with like a few bands.
Hey, maybe they can make it happen, and maybe the new record, There's a Place for Me on Earth, will be the one that gets it going. But now diving into the new album, with it coming out literally in like 2 weeks from when we record this, but when everyone else is listening, it's going to come out like really, really soon. So definitely get ready for this. What was the inspiration on this album? Because especially the name of it, There's a Place for Me on Earth. It has this interesting sort of like psychological, contemplative feel to it. So what was the idea behind this whole entire album?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess lyrically it was like all revolving around this topic. Like, is there actually a place for like me on Earth or for everybody? Like, it sometimes feels pretty hard to find this place in today's society. And this is what all the songs that are on this album actually are dealing with from a different standpoint or a different topic. And this was overall the best way to put all this, like the whole concept together in this one sentence, because like the first time that I've thought about that sentence, it actually made me cry, because it felt like, okay, it's so intense for me actually. And that's why I came up with this album title and asked the boys what they think of it, and they were immediately like, okay, yeah, let's do that. They also felt something with it, I guess. And yeah, so that's basically all about the lyric part of this album. But all around that, I mean, we just talked about the instrumentals a little bit, like all the aggressiveness that we wanted to put into that, because it matches perfectly together with the topic, and it feels like you really need this kind of this way to approach those thoughts, like in an aggressive way, in a different, like having different vibes on the album. And this is what makes this album like something new, like combining with this
I mean, finding a place on Earth, like the title, it's like, it's a very personal title and a very personal album lyrical wise to you. But I think everyone can feel the same. We're like such a diverse society at this point, and for some people it's harder to find their own place as well. And because people are so different all over the world, and somehow you can also hear that on the record, because all the four of us do listen to like so different music outside of metal. I like to listen to a lot of hip hop, and our drummer loves like electronic music, and all these different influences. We've also tried to incorporate them in the music as well, right? So every like genre that we listen to will find their place on the album in some way. Yeah.
See, understandable. And I found that rather interesting too, especially from what you're talking about with the overall topic behind the album, behind the lyrical content, because it is one of those more contemplative things, one of those more sit back and really get an understanding of where you are and who you are. However, whenever we think about that kind of a topic and we think about the emotions behind it, something that's so high energy really never is something that just pops in your head as the first thought of like, how am I going to feel about this? Where's my energy going? You're usually going to sit back. The songs are going to have a little bit more melodic feel. They might have a little bit more of this emotional tie to them to amplify that overall experience, just based on what humans normally connect with their emotions with on that kind of a topic. However, what you guys are able to do is, while keeping a lot of that fast pace, that high energy in there, I did see some of those other influences pop in, and a lot of it popped in specifically from some of the programming ideas you had over some of these songs to create these different auras around them to still amplify on that overall emotion. Like, I'm trying to think if I get the song right. Like in Biased, it felt like at times there was a little bit more of this programming over the top that had a Motionless in White kind of feel to it, but it added to more of that contemplative, more emotional kind of sound, while the album and while the song is still going high pace, high energy, and having this manic feel to it. So it still has you guys in there, but it still has this more connective piece to it, to the overall theme of the album, based on some of those program decisions you made on the influence that the band has.
Yeah, sure, for sure. Yeah, and it's like it puts like a different layer on top of the production. If we could just write only like heavy songs with just guitars and like pretty raw, and would be pretty energetic and aggressive as well. But that wouldn't be us in this case. I mean, it's like it definitely adds to different layers to like create an ambience in our songs.
Yeah, I guess that was the most important thing for us, to like have different songs that are still matching together perfectly as one piece, kind of.
But each of them stands out in their own way.
But each of them is totally like a standout song each.
Yeah, again, that's like what every band is trying to do, especially bands that are trying to experiment a lot, where you have to succeed in that. You have to have that core sound that when people are listening to them, when you're listening to it, that it's your music, that it's your style. But there are so many other aspects you can throw in there and influences to experiment with to try and amplify whatever story, whatever emotion you're trying to portray. However, it still has that feeling of like what you guys have. I mean, again, I'll use a couple examples. Take a listen to Electric Callboy. I mean, their music can go all over the place. It can go heavy, it can go light, but it just has that fun feel to it. Bring Me the Horizon has that, uniqueness to them where they can try as many different things they want, but you still know at the core it's Bring Me the Horizon. We're seeing that with Bad Omens. We're seeing that with Sleep Token. And it's bands that have that core sound understood and they're able to expand on it with their other influences and what they want to try and portray. Those are the ones that are able to experiment and continue to succeed overall. And with your faster pace, that higher energy style, you guys definitely did that here, where I knew every song was a Defocus song based on that energy and how much heavier it was compared to something like Beartooth. However, there were times where I'm picking out these other influences in these songs. Like, again, I use Bias. It kind of had the influence a little bit of Motionless in White and at times, in my opinion, Wage War as well. So picking that out, I can start to take a little bit more of this understood feel to it and amplify the overall experience that is Defocus on this album.
Hell yeah.
Man, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So yeah, and honestly, when I went, because I only have listened through the 4 singles so far, Bias was definitely my favorite on the album so far of the singles. So when it comes to the album overall, I always like asking this question. It does sound like picking your favorite child, which is definitely not that easy, but I'd love to see what the response is. So for you guys specifically, what are your favorite songs on the album personally? Of course, all the songs I know you enjoy. I know you want everyone to listen to all of them, which everyone should, but are there any songs where both you are like, these are the ones you definitely have to listen to if you only have like 5 minutes and you have to pick one?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, we just talked about it today, actually, because the singles that came out beforehand, they're like pretty high energy, and of course we do have some really high energy and heavy tracks on the album as well. But we do have a few surprises in there as well, and I think if I could pick one song that is not out yet, I would actually choose Don't Let It Hurt Me.
Yeah, okay, same.
yeah.
Wait, what was the song that you're going to choose?
Sorry?
What was the song you're going to choose? I didn't really fully hear it. I just want to make sure I got it.
Don't Let It Hurt Me.
Okay.
It's going to be our next single.
It's actually going
to be released on the 29th of February.
Yeah.
Which is something different than from the singles that we've released before. So it's like a lot more emotional and but still fucking heavy, actually.
Yeah, it's still heavy, man. It's still heavy, but it's like it's different because it can be a sing along, it can be like a march song. Yeah, I think it's a bit slow for a just a march song, but Yeah, but that's also why it's so interesting, because it's really different from the singles you've heard. So you get like a taste of the other songs.
Yeah, especially because it's like that song is actually connected to the whole "there is a place for me on earth" topic thing. So like this song really represents the album in a certain way, and yeah, connected with those new influences we put into that song.
Yeah,
I would say overall this would be the go-to song.
yeah, I'm really excited what the people will, or how the people will react to that song.
It'll be interesting to see, especially releasing it as a single the day before the album comes out
Yeah.
as well. That's something like I've seen people who have seen bands do it. I both have understood it and haven't understood it, like the reason behind it at the exact same time.
I mean, you've got to make, like the biggest impact possible when the album comes out. So every kind of attention is pretty good. Or like in this case, like with another video and stuff like that. I think it's just taking the most out of the attention that we get for the album release as possible.
Yeah, it kind of feels like to have this one video like set right before the album release, one day before. Like it kind of gives another, like all the people that see the video the day after also can see, whoa, there's an album coming out today or tomorrow, whatever. So it's like we really try to get some more influence with that video and to get more people listening to the album then. So that might be the perfect way to go. But I mean, you'll never know how the internet works today. It works different tomorrow and it will work different in a week. So I mean, we just hope to get the best out of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. We've seen, we've seen a guy, especially back during the pandemic, make a TikTok holding a bottle of cranberry juice while skateboarding down the street and end up getting like a $4 million endorsement deal with the company that makes that juice. So literally anything can happen. I have understood, okay, release a song literally the day before the album comes out, because then it puts attention on that one specific song. But at the same time, it's then everyone already knows, they're coming to you guys and they see that the album is coming out literally the next day. So you get a lot more attention built up on there. But the other reason why I don't understand it too is like, okay, what if people see and they're like, oh, there's a new album coming out and it's coming out the next day? It's like, well, what if I want to listen to it right then and there? So it's like, you release the album on on the day of release, but then you release that music video on that specific day. Now people are seeing the music video and they're able to go and see it right away. However, is it already oversaturated because the people that are already going to go check out the album have already checked it out because they've already been waiting for it. They're waiting, for midnight to hit. And once it hit, they were going to stay up late, go to groggy to work the next day because they want to listen to the full thing from when it dropped right at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the interesting thing is, like, usually bands do all their singles and music videos like before the album comes out to to create like some hype, some kind of way. But we also thought like, man, every single song, we've put so much like love into every song that we have on this album, and even if we don't release it beforehand, we've also thought about like releasing a few music videos after the release, just so that every song gets the attention it deserves, right?
Well, not the attention that it deserves, but just it keeps the album cycle continuing on. It keeps it having that new feel, especially in the day and age where we're at, where streaming is king and people are constantly trying to get on those curated playlists that people are constantly following. And if you're putting out brand new music videos, even after the fact of the album release, if those songs did not hit on the album release just as much as some of the other ones did, it gives it a feel of like this is a brand new single, and some of those playlists will pick up on that because now there's a lot more buzz around the song. And even though it's been out for a while, I mean, like there's the moments like that just randomly happen with, random things. Take a look at Pierce the Veil. I mean, they were never the biggest band, but then all of a sudden TikTok decides, hey, we like the King for a Day song, even though everyone in the scene already knew about that song and already loved it. Now mainstream media picked up on it, the mainstream culture picked up on it, and they're going over and playing an arena tour in Europe when you never thought that band would be an arena band.
Yeah,
that's actually true. Yeah,
I mean, so the same thing for me personally, I think, happened to like a lot of like like old school bands, if you'd say so. Like, I don't think Deftones would be as big as they are again right now without TikTok, because of course you think, if you like 2 years ago you've talked to someone about Deftones, I think they would probably think, oh yeah, that's music my dad would listen to because they're like from the 90s. Yeah, but after like going viral on TikTok with so much songs from them, it's like the younger audience is picking up on that, and they are like huge again for me.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, okay, we could actually say that today it's a lot more efficient to put out every song as a single beforehand. Like, but then we come to the point where we say, okay, but we really want to make a music video, a good music video for a song, for example. I mean, actually, the people only care for 15 seconds of a song right now, so you don't even have to fucking do it. But it's kind of still feels wrong to me to do that. Like, to not get the whole attention to a song, but only 15-second snippets or whatever. So for me, I do think that it might be cool in the future to do that, to have all the singles released before the album drops. But there are also some people that really like to enjoy some like listening to the whole album and not knowing the songs before. And I guess it will be shifting in the next few years probably. But
I was like, you have to cater to what's popular at the moment, but you can't put you can't just like fully go and invest in it, because take a look over time. I mean, in the early to mid 2000s, everyone thought MySpace was going to be like the thing for music for such a long period of time.
What's MySpace? I'm sorry.
Yeah, then by 2009 it was completely irrelevant. And even though Facebook is still a behemoth as it is, it's not nearly as popular as it was back in 2010, 2011. Instagram isn't as big as it once was, even though it's still really big. Twitter isn't as big as it once was. TikTok is huge, but there's gonna be something that comes along that's gonna overtake it, that's gonna change the whole entire narrative around it. And bands are going to have to adapt. Artists are going to have to adapt. It's just what we have. It's just what you guys have to do. It's what even myself as a creative. That's what we have to do to survive and what we have to do to thrive in this industry. So
that's the way it works.
It's the way it works.
The way around that actually to make to be. You have to be really flexible in today's industry. Yeah. Things can change so fast and so much, and you really have to adapt to that.
So that's why we just got to, we just got to stretch it out a little bit, be flexible, and we'll be ready to go. All right, guys, I got one more question for you before you guys head on your way. Are you guys ready for this?
Sure. Yeah, let's go.
Go ahead.
I've been asking this question for the past 6 months to every band I've had in the podcast. I'm keeping it going with you guys. So can you guys give me 3 bands or artists that you would suggest we listen to right now that you would love to get more attention to? It can be bands bigger than you, smaller than you, at your same level. I just want to get people to listen to more new music.
Okay.
You go first. Okay.
So, each of us 3. Okay. One, I really love the band From Joy.
Fuck yeah.
From Joy. I think they're from Texas or something. I really don't know. I think they're from Texas or so, and they're insane. They're so high energy. I don't think it's for everyone, but they mix breakcore electronic stuff in their music.
Crazy, yeah.
It's insane. I really love them, and they deserve all the attention. And another band that I love, they're also from the States. I don't know where from, but they're called Weeping Wound. Ooh, I think they're called. And they're also so underrated. They've put out an EP or a record last year or 2 years ago. I don't really remember, and I really thought they were going to be picked up by a big record label, but they didn't. But man, do they deserve it? They're really good. They're really good. And I have to think for one more.
Yeah, okay, let me continue. So the first band that I came up with is Mood Ring, because I really love Black Wave is a song that just immediately hooked me up, and I'm just if that song comes up, I'm always super getting aggressive. It's oh damn, there's so much going on there. So that's my first pick. And the second one that I would go with are actually label mates of us now, because the band shit. Oralize.
That's what I was gonna say.
Fuck. Okay, Oralize is super crazy. They're actually gonna play on our release show.
Yeah.
On the 9th March, and yeah, those guys are just crazy. They actually combine also a lot of different things in their music, which I really appreciate, and I'm super stoked for seeing them live.
They're putting a record out also I think like next month or so, and
I guess in
it's
March.
their first record, and they were like so insanely good, so insanely talented, and I think they're like, I don't know, like 18, 19 or something.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
just crazy.
they they've got everything lined up for them after this release, because it's already such a good record, and they're putting out so many good songs, and I think they're gonna be, they do deserve to be like
a lot bigger
than they are right now.
Oh, I'm aware of those guys. I got the notice about them, and I'm just waiting for times and days. Otherwise, they're coming to the podcast, and I'm gonna let them know that you guys recommended them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got one more or
fuck. Okay.
If you can't think of one more, you guys gave me
something
2 weeks. That's
not
4
even
total.
related to metal at all. But fuck, the new song by Young Marley, like Crazier in the Moonlight. It's fucking great, man. Dude, listen to that. Oh my god, I just got to know that song two weeks ago, last week, whatever. And it's just like it immediately got stuck in my head completely, like the whole week now. So it's a banger.
Young Marley.
Are catching a fire. Okay, that one. Like you got one?
Oh,
last one.
Okay, last one. If you like indie rock or like shoegaze indie rock music, there's a German band that's called Spiral Drive. Yes. They are like crazy. They are like putting so much weird effects into their guitars that you don't really think it's a guitar anymore.
Listen to Space Train.
Yeah, it sounds like they're playing on synthesizers, but it's actually guitars, and it's so good.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's really good. Like if you want to chill out on the evening, and you can listen to Spiral Drive, they're really good. Yeah.
Spiral Drive is great. Yeah.
Hey man, if I'm trying to chill out and I'm trying to just relax for the night, I'm gonna put on some Knocked Loose and just listen, enjoy, relax, arf, all that kind of stuff. But I might have to give that a shot just to really get into that deep relaxation feel. But we'll see what happens. And now, gentlemen, thank you for being on the episode. As we bring this podcast to conclusion, I typically end by giving 3 bits of information. First things first, when it comes to Defocus and the brand new album, There's a Place for Me on Earth, coming out on March 1st, you are going to want to go and check this thing out. It's going to give you the energy you need to go through life, go through your day, and if you're having a bad day at work, to tell your boss, hey, shut the fuck up, man. This is my town. Just something like that. So best way to go and support the folks and find out when they're going to be playing near you, when they're going to be coming to the US, which hopefully is very soon, and where to listen to this album and get some merch is to go straight to the podcast flow where it says Find Defocus online. There's been links and labels for everything. I'm doing all the searching for you. I am your own personal Google on this one when it comes to Defocus. All you have to do is go down there, click the link that you want, go and listen to the album, go and listen to the rest of their music, go get some merch, go follow them online, go watch music videos, and go and get some tickets to when they're playing near you, because you're going to feel that energy. It's going to be like if you take Red Bull and don't just drink it, but literally mainline it into your veins. That's what it's going to be like.
Now it's time the Red Bull into your blood veins, man.
Straight into my veins! Now it's time for number 2. And this is why I cannot chop my liver in half and sell it to try and come and see you guys, because whenever guests on the podcast I enjoy, I tend to make a certain promise. And my promise is this, because you guys hit on this. It is when I get to see perform live for the first time, I will find you guys. I will come up. I will say hi. But my promise is first round's on me.
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
So I'm going to need that liver because I said first round. Then, there's probably going to be a 3rd and a 5th and a 7th round I got to cover at some point too.
That's the reason why the liver is perfect. Yeah.
Exactly. And now, guys, I cannot end this episode by saying goodbye. That is way too final. This was a shit ton of fun. I'm going to try and bring you guys back in the podcast sometime in the future. See you guys play live. First round's on me. 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, as this roll keeps going on. We're just going to keep going on and on, having a great time. After me, smashing a bunch of people in the pit to some high energy music that makes it feel like I mainlined Red Bull, and probably attach a car battery in my nipples, but I'm loving it every step of the way. So guys, this is not goodbye. This is, I'll see you later.
See you soon.
Have a good one, man.
Woo! Well, folks, with my interview with Simon and Jeff from the band Defocus, and now it is time for Kevin's final thought. And Yeah, when I talked about this band in an introduction and I thought about like Beartooth's high energy, but a lot heavier and still has a lot more of that manic stuff, describe them as like a car battery attached to your nipples and mainlining Red Bull straight into your veins. Yeah, I meant every word of it because I love the fact that they also have this fast-paced style, this heavier style, this more manic overall feel to it. But when it came down to it with There's a Place for Me on Earth, I mean, it gets into some more deeper emotional thoughts, some deeper emotional topics that we're not going to necessarily be able to think about and really connect with overall with such a fast-paced environment, such a fast-paced manic style, because emotionally in our brains, more of those melodic, more of those ballad type songs definitely connect on this. I'll use Motionless in White as an example. I'm not going to listen to Immaculate Misconception and think that it's going to be about something that's going to make me feel, something that's more emotional, contemplative. But a song like Masterpiece from Scoring the End of the World is going to definitely hit on that. But what Defocus is able to do is they're able to keep that high energy, fast paced sound, the more manic style behind it, but also bring in different influences to create that overall moment where it's going to be a little bit more connective, where it's going to be a little bit more interesting, and where it's going to be a little bit different to hit on some of those more emotional topics while keeping that fast paced energy to their core. And this is a band, trust me, if you listen to those singles, you're going to want to go see this band live. You're going to want to feed off that energy. You're going to want to get in the pit, and you're going to want to hit someone to Kingdom Come. But remember the rules. If someone gets knocked down, you pick their ass right back up. I can't wait to see this band live. This is insane when it comes to the energy. When it comes to Defocus, though, when it comes to There's a Place for Me on Earth, when it comes out on March 1st, be sure to listen to it. Be sure to follow along with the band. Go to the script of the podcast where it says Find Defocus online. Links and labels for everything you need to become the biggest Defocus fan out there is going to be down there for you. Also, make sure you're going down there and check out the Chord Progression Podcast on social media. We're on Spotify Podcast. Nope, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so you can connect with us there. Also, remember to subscribe to this podcast right down here if you're on YouTube. New episodes of the podcast in full every single Tuesday and Thursday, and Friday reaction videos as well. But if you're like Kevin, I only want to audio stream this stuff, well, you get the full episodes. Don't worry about that. Spotify, Apple Podcasts every single Tuesday and Thursday as well. You just don't get the reaction videos there, but you get the full podcast there as well for your listening pleasure. Be sure to like the video and like the episode if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Keep us pushing up in the algorithm and keep us getting to know more about brand new music. And just want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for coming by and enjoy. On that note, that's who you guys think about listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. So big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah!